Everyone's cool with it? Ship it? Alright.
Я все-таки тогда прочитаю по-английски, поскольку непосредственно предыдущему докладчика. Okay, so the question is, then you speak about Facebook plans for the next year. You're talking more or less about some kind of, expanding. And Zuckerberg, on the other hand, some time ago, he devoted a long speech to social search. You didn't mention social search at all in your speech. I have an impression that social search is the next big thing we should wait from Facebook, and that Facebook is going to fight some kind of uphill battle against Google, maybe, or something like. Can you speak about this a bit?
I think when Mark talked about social search, and though I only saw a part of the speech. When he talked about social search, there's two different parts to this. One is that search engines that exist today, Yandex, Google, whatever, need to get with the social program. It's one thing to build search is a hard problem in the social context, because you can imagine if you're building Google, if you're building one big search index that is supposed to work for everybody, that's a hard enough problem, but it's one that people think is relatively well solved. You type something in, you get a pretty good answer, that's it. But it could be so much better if it was filtered by your friends and what they recommended. So for me, to go onto Google and search for information on snowboards and to find stores that are, on the East Coast of the United States when I live in California, that makes very little sense. If it knew who my friends were and if it could tell me what they had recommended or what they had done, that's very powerful. So I think, I don't think we're not trying to build an index for the web. Like, we're not going to go out and crawl the web. If instead you think about it this way, what if your friends are the index? What if your friends are the web crawler? My friends are out there and they read lots of different news sites, and I don't have to read those news sites because I trust that my friends will share any content they find that's really good from those news sites. So I'm using my friends as an elaborate collaborative filter, right? So I think that's part of it. And I think the other part of it, and this is really where Facebook is really getting better every day, and it's a little bit subtle, you might not realize it, and it's ongoing, is our own search functionality. If I search for Ivan, I have a friend at Facebook who works with me named Ivan. He should come up first before this Ivan does. But this Ivan and I have a mutual friend, so he should come up next before some random Ivan that I don't know, right? So index per person, that kind of social search, and this doesn't have to just happen person to person. What about pages? What about content? What about things that I haven't listed in my profile, like bands that I'm a fan of? We should be able to find those things first. So I think there's two parts to social search, and I'm quite confident that Mark didn't mean that we were going to go crawl the web a la Google. I think what he meant was that that kind of web crawling is going to be decreasingly useful as we have better and better means for using our friends as a filter for what's out there.
Okay, I think that was a good answer. We can take one more question before we proceed to the next presentation. Можем еще один вопрос, прежде чем начнем дальше следующую презентацию. Есть какие-то еще вопросы, уточнения, кому-то что-то интересно? Ну что, давайте тогда... вот там тоже один... Давайте, хорошо, вот Анатолий там, и потом тогда ваш быстрый вопрос будет два. А пока мы ждем, пока выгрузится презентация Антона на экран.
My name is Anatol. I'm wondering what's your vision of monetization for the Facebook, the split between advertising, media advertising, and monetization through games, and so on. The interesting thing is that we built our company built some game for Facebook, and basically it doesn't look like, well, not for us, but for another. It seems that basically you leave it to the company to make money by itself, so you don't grab not even share of this. So it's this generosity is really interesting because it's totally opposite in Russia. Like the similar social network would take like 50 or 60% share of the, all these micropayments and so on.
I'm glad you noticed. People are going to think I planted you in the audience. Yes, you're right. We are very generous. No, we really, it's a philosophy. We believe that developers who take the risk to go develop an application in what is a very competitive application development environment, there's a lot of applications competing for users' eyes, deserve to get paid for what they do. They deserve to get paid to the fullest extent that they can. Not to mention the fact that, let's be honest, Facebook does get value from the platform. Over half of our users log in every day, and over half of our users use a Facebook application when they log in, right? So it's a huge reason that people come back. People love Farmville. I don't know if you know that or not. People love Farmville.
It's too bad.
It is. Well, this is such a funny story. I'll tell the story, and I hope it translates because I think it's so powerful. One of the things, Farmville is not popular for us engineers at Facebook. We did not, when we built the platform, you can imagine that wasn't what we had in mind. However, our vice president of product, Chris Cox, was recently in Thailand and visiting, this is true, a pineapple farm in Thailand. And he's talking to this pineapple farmer. And the pineapple farmer asks, what do you do? And he's kind of worried. He's like, I have to explain to this guy what Facebook is and what the internet is. And so he says, I work at Facebook. And the farmer's like, his eyes light up, and he says, oh, yeah, I love to farm. This is a pineapple farmer who works 16 hours a day on a pineapple farm, and then goes to his computer and plays Farmville. All right. One of the worst sins we can commit as developers is thinking we know what our users really want. Users will tell us what they want and how much they want it by their actions and by their eyeballs. So so I think I'm glad you brought it up. Absolutely, we want to encourage developers to feel empowered to make money on our platform. We benefit when you build good applications, and you benefit when you benefit as much as you can in monetizing those applications. I will mention that one of the things we're talking about doing, and we've just done it with a few developers so far, it's in beta still, is building a credits, kind of a virtual currency, which we call Facebook credits. It's one thing for Zynga, who has hundreds of millions of dollars, to kind of get into the business of doing credit card transactions and PayPal transactions and whatnot. But for a smaller developer, that can be brutal because there's a lot of overhead to setting those things up. There's a lot of legal things. There's a lot of fees. So for Facebook credits, the idea is for smaller developers to be able to monetize with a virtual currency if they're too small to have their own, like Zynga does.
First of all, you forced Zynga to use it, no?
Well, I don't know if we have not yet. We may. But I think, Zynga, come on. Everyone loves that. So I think so. The Facebook credits now, virtual currency, will be taking 30%. And so that's still better than 50 or 60%. So there will be that. But people are still free to monetize however they want in advertising and keep 100% of that revenue.
And besides these guys, application developers, they pay you for advertising. So you monetize this thing.
Yeah, my esteemed colleague from Mail.ru has pointed out, we do actually get quite a bit of money from advertisements from the application developers. So they do kind of get us back to some degree. But that's up to them. They don't have to advertise with us.
No, but this normal situation, if one user costs them some money, they can reinvest it. If you take half, they can reinvest half. It's the normal business.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually know if it works that way. I think you're describing an inelastic market, but I'm not convinced that that's what this is. This is a growth market.
Come on, guys. I think we're diving into specifics, and you don't even have a microphone.